Tinykins! I enjoy 3D platformers, but the biggest problem with them is they can actually be kind of tedious, bloated, or worse yet, boring. I'm very happy to tell you that none of these traits are in this game. It gets close on being bloated, but it expertly avoids it by keeping the areas interesting to explore. We have to get this out of the way. The game is all about controlling little creatures who have different abilities that you use in the level. So this title is obviously heavily influenced by the game Lemmings. For example, just like in Lemmings, you can use them to climb, bomb, or build pathways for you. It couldn't be more clear. I played Lemmings when I was a kid, and I didn't like it. I found the puzzles boring and a bit frustrating. I was happy when Nintendo decided to borrow some of the ideas from it. Now, I haven't been a huge fan of Pikmin either. I find its strategy elements okay at best. I do remember recommending it for the Wii U, but to be fair, if a game is slightly fun for the Wii U, I would recommend it. Because let's be honest, the Wii U did not have much to offer. The fact that I put out a review every single week pretty much, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel to find stuff. So I pretty much reviewed every Nintendo release. I'm sure I missed one or two. It's not a game I would normally play though. Now before anyone asks, no, I'm not going to review or play Pikmin 4 when it comes out. I'm sure the littlest will play it since he loves those games, but I just don't have any interest. Now, Tinykins is about a scientist named Milo who wants to find out how humans came to be. He finds a possible answer on a planet which looks just like a house, but he ends up getting stuck there. He teams up with another scientist bug who has the plans for a ship that might be able to get them out of this place. He just needs to find the parts, which are in 6 different huge explorable areas. You find out that you can interact and use the creatures that are here that are called Tinykins. They each have different abilities to help you on your journey. They're going to give you a new kind of Tinykin in each one of the levels you explore, so you won't feel overwhelmed by having to learn them all at the same time. Now, there are only 5 kinds of Tinykins. Pink, that can carry items, red, that can explode, green, which was the best of them all, which will stack up a ladder which you can climb on, blue, which will carry electrical current, and yellow, which will make bridges. Even better, you're never going to need to switch to the kind you want, as the game will give you a quick key for the green ones in order to make a quick ladder, or it picks the correct one for the situation. I was expecting a game where you have to find a bunch of tiny creatures time-consuming or tedious. This is neither of those things. You find them organically as you're traveling through the world. There wasn't any time that I can remember that I needed to find some. It's either that I just had to return later to that part of the area, or I found a different way I wanted to go. That is the biggest strength of this title: freedom. Now, the areas that you explore are filled with garbage and nonsense, and it can feel overwhelming if you're just looking at it straight on. It's so cluttered with junk, knowing where to go first can seem frustrating, until you quickly realize the answer where you need to go first is wherever you want. There is no set way to go. There are multiple ways to get to the location that you want to explore. Maybe you can float over from a high distance, or you can find ropes that you can lower that might help you. Or maybe you can even turn your Tinykins into a very long ladder and just hop your way up from there. How you did it was totally up to you. While the levels themselves were designed so well that you're going to want to explore them all, the story gimmicks in the world were always so bland. They were just nonsensical stuff like make a cake or fix a racetrack. They were just random things to get you to do so you would explore the world. It does work, but I wish the story was better in these parts. They have pollen all over the place as a collectible. There's actually a better use to them, as it actually helps you to figure out where you haven't been. If there's pollen over in a place that you might see, you might need to check it out. Oddly, the last level didn't have any new Tinykins to get. It broke the cycle of having new creatures to command and learning the best ways to use them. You might say it's the final level, and you're supposed to be using all your previous ones in one big challenge. But that's not it. The previous level had all the Tinykins in it as well. It wasn't something new, and it was very odd that this happened. The finale was very quick too. I was expecting more when the rest of the game was so big and well designed, but it felt like they really wanted something small for the conclusion, and it was just out of place for the rest of the game. Now, don't expect any combat in this title. There's not one moment of aggression that I remember. Even in other levels where other characters are angry at each other, they don't bother you at all. They just want you to explore and not worry about fighting things. There are optional objectives in each of the levels, and they would require you to look all around the level for what they wanted you to do, or in order to beat that objective by collecting a great deal of the pollen in the level that you're exploring. Tinykins is basically what Pikmin would be if it was a platformer, and this actually might sound controversial, but you know what, Nintendo? I think the concept of what they're using the characters for is better done here than in Pikmin. I think this whole concept of using little creatures works better as a platformer than a strategy game. That's just my opinion though. They never overuse the Tinykins, and they let you explore huge areas at your own leisure. Now, I do think the game is worth a buy. While the worlds looked cluttered, they are more organized and well made than you might think. If you're looking for a fun 3D platformer and want to try something different, I think it's absolutely worth a buy.